There are a ton of CSS properties that affect the way text is displayed. I'm not going to attempt to cover every single one of them. Instead, we'll take a look at a few that illustrate the concepts behind their stylings. Let's jump straight into the code editor and take a look. Okay, so I'm in Sublime Text and I'm looking at the file called styling text before.html. Let me quickly rearrange the screen so you could see the browser and the code editor at the same time. Okay, so the first thing we want to do here is we have a class called style, and we're applying this class to the second paragraph in our HTML file. We have two paragraphs here. The second one is what we're applying this to. As you can see in the browser, there's a couple of paragraphs that are being shown, and both of them at the moment have the default styling from the browser. So our task here is to style the second paragraph just to see a comparison. So the first thing we want to do usually is specify font family. So font family is the property name, and the value for font family could vary. And in fact, I provided you here a link right straight in the HTML page, and we'll go ahead and click that link. It basically gives you commonly used font combinations. So what you usually put in the font family as the value is combinations of fonts. And the reason you put not just one font, but a few fonts is because when you specify font family in this way, you're relying on the client's computer, you're relying on the user's computer to have that font installed. And it's possible that a particular font will not be installed on the user's computer, so you want to provide some options, and at the very least, you want to provide whether you want a serif type of font or a sans serif type of font, because every computer will have some sort of a default serif or sans serif font. And just in case you don't know the difference between serif and sans serif, serifs are the fonts that not only have the lines but also have a bit of an embellishment at the end of each line. So as you can see, there's these little squigglies at the end of each line. As opposed to sans serif, they're just very straight lines. Personally, I prefer this particular font combination, so I'll copy it and paste it right here, give it a semicolon, and let's go back. Let's save the file and refresh. And now you see that now we have Arial, most probably, as the font for our paragraph. Next, let's change the color. Now you've seen me use color multiple times already, but the truth of the matter is, while it's probably okay to use red, green, blue, predefined color names in testing, for real websites, you would want to use a hexadecimal value for a particular color. And whatever color you want to have is something that obviously is up to you. So I'll pick this color, and this is a hexadecimal value, and the way this color is specified is the first two numbers is red, second two numbers is green, and the last two numbers is blue, FF being the highest blue value. So basically it's the same RGB specification that a lot of colors are specified as, except it's expressed in hexadecimal. So let's save it, refresh. As you can see now, it turned blue. Now, there are various shortcuts for specifying colors, and I'll let you look it up yourself, but needless to say, if you specify a 6-digit hexadecimal color, it's certainly good enough. The property font style is the one that specifies whether or not you want something to be italic or normal. And we'll give it an italic to just change it a little bit. We'll save it, refresh, and now you see the font turned italic. Next thing is font weight. Now, font weight could be specified from basically normal to bold. And you could also specify it using numbers. So if I specify all the way to 800, 900, and bold, well, 900 will be pretty bold. So if I save it and refresh it, it will be pretty bold. But in practice, people just use the word bold as a predefined keyword. So that's also good enough, and about equals 900 anyway. Next, we'll specify font size, and we'll give it a 24 pixels. And this will obviously give it a little bit of a bigger font size than it is right now, as you can see right there. Just about every browser out there has a default font size of 16 pixels. And that should give you an idea as to what an unstyled text would look like. And by unstyled, I mean the one that has the browser default styling applied to it. Now, don't confuse this with points. These are pixels. Points are used in print when you do Microsoft Word or something like that, but not on screen. On screen, you use pixels. Pixels are what's considered absolute unit of measurement for size. However, they do have a bit of a relative component to them. Pixels are relative to the viewing device. For low DPI or low dots per inch devices, 1 pixel is 1 device pixel dot of the display. For printers and high-resolution screens, 1 pixel implies multiple device pixels. Point is, higher DPI devices will give you sharper text because for every pixel that it's actually drawing multiple pixels on the device. With all that said, pixels is still considered an absolute unit of measurement. We'll talk about relative units of measurements as far as font size is concerned in just a little bit. But for this short segment, let me just show you a couple of more text properties that you might want to know about. There's another one called text transform, and it allows you to basically control how your text looks. Capitalize it, lower cases. If I capitalize, for example, save it and refresh, you could see that every word now gets capitalized. But there's more. There's lowercasing. I could have the entire text get lowercased, or I could get the entire text get uppercased. And let's leave it that way. Another useful property is text align. And what it allows you to do, it allows you to either center, right, justify, left the text within its block level element. For this one, let's go ahead and right justify it. Let's refresh, and here you go. We'll continue this lecture with part 2, and we'll speak about relative font sizing.